All right, all right. It is Friday, and it's time for the Ask Christian Anarchist show, episode number 43. Anyways, that was basically like the worst karaoke night of all time. So I will spare your ears and just go about with the show, because I think that's pretty much what you all came here for, anyways, not my singing talents. Anyways, welcome to Ask Christian Anarchist number 43. We are here to do the usual for Ask Christian Anarchist, and as usual, we will be taking in your questions that you have. Now, if you are new to the whole thing of Ask Christian Anarchist, let us make an introduction. First of all, welcome. Second of all, how do you ask the questions? Well, it's easy. You have several ways. So first of all, you can request for the link via Google Hangouts, and I will get you the link to come in to the Hangout as long as I can check your profile and make sure, see if you aren't just a troll or some porn bomber. Then there's the Discord chat. You can go to our Discord chat. It is in the description below. That's the last link where you can go there and you can submit your question in the show questions only text channel. And there we will get any questions we have from you or if anyone else that is in the group at the time. What else is there? Oh, yes. Then you have Twitter. Just mention me with @Christo_anarcho. with hashtag AskCA and submit your question via there. Or you have that live chat button. You have the live chat thing on YouTube. You can submit your question on there, and I'll be able to read it there. So you have several ways to access the questionnaire thing, especially those who may want to have a question there and are using other social media platforms and don't have time to look at the actual Ask Christian Anarchist show. Either way, we will try to do our best to get to any and all kinds of questions that we get. So, that being said, oh my goodness. Well, one thing I will mention before we get to the whole starting of the show is that I took some Flonase, and it's making my nose a little stuffy. Y'all don't know what it is. It's that little nasal spray. It feels like some of the liquid of that is going in the back of my throat as I'm trying to prevent it from being all runny and such. Man. All right. But anyways, yes. So hopefully we can do this show, because right now we have two guests in here. We have the Christian man and we have the sister hipster.
Hi.
So, hola.
50 points from Gryffindor for saying hola.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyways, so for those who do want to come in here, just know that it's a first come, first served basis. And that's the case. Christian man came in here first, so he gets to ask the first question. So, Christian man, what is your question?
Favorite board game?
Always find it surprising. The first question usually tends to not be a theological or biblical one. Favorite board game? Zathura.
I'm not familiar with that one.
It was a board game that was based off a movie that was basically about a board game. It was pretty much like a space sci-fi Jumanji.
Oh, okay. Okay, now I know.
Jumanji in space.
I didn't know. I didn't know they made a game out of that.
What, the Zathura?
Yeah.
Yeah, here's a picture of it if I can. Yeah, right here, like this was you had your own little time thing that you'd get of how many moves, and each time you get something, it would draw a card out just like it would in the game, but instead of like serious stuff, it'd be like, text from the actual movie, but then it has like go back 2 spaces and such, so almost like a Monopoly kind of thing. But it was still a pretty fun game to play.
Oh, okay. I still have the Jumanji board game from the early 90s.
Nice. Jumanji. And now they got a Jumanji video game.
Oh my god.
So yeah, thanks for your question about board games, because that seems to be the popular rage these days. There's a question I'm seeing in the live chat already, but I don't understand or have never heard of Stephen Law's Pandora box objection to skeptical theism. So if you could lay that out while we get Sister's question, so that way I have a better understanding of it. But we'll try to also look it up to see what exactly I'm dealing with on that. That's the first time I'm ever hearing of that. But yeah, so going to Sister. Sister, how you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Doing okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So how you doing, and what's your question?
Let's see. How do you deal with difficult people?
How do I deal with difficult people? Well, just have patience, really. I mean, there's two recent moments where I've had that dealing with difficult people. Yeah, both on theological discussion, which seems to be the pattern there. The first one being from Justin Wilson, the Seventh-day Adventist that I had a discussion with on yesterday for the live stream, and the thing was just posted for the post today. And then you had Southern Israelite who just kept, calling me a liar and using a lot of profanity at me. But I deal with them just simply, with patience and such, and trying to keep in mind that, if I get aggravated and such, I have to remember that's just going to get me to their level.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do that. I mean, the Bible teaches us that we are to be patient with people, and that, principles like turning the other cheek actually do a lot of good against some of these people that can be agitating or even bullies for the most part.
At my job the other day, it actually wasn't too long ago. Had a coworker end up having to serve a drink, and we serve small drinks and big drinks, and the small drinks are more for people who want free water or for children, and the coworker couldn't give small drink to an older person, and she called her a stupid little twit. Well, if she called her useless, I would definitely have a problem. So I guess patience in dealing with people like that, kind of like put heaping coals of fire upon their heads. But sometimes it's like, you want to defend the defenseless.
Yeah, and that's something we should be doing. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, is that so? That's all the part of the question you wanted to ask?
I guess so. I'll think something up eventually.
All right. But either way, I mean, thank you for your question. Hope my response was able to be helpful. And I see we got the I don't know if Lale Lulelo is still in the chat. I'll see if I can try to get to that question eventually. Hopefully, if she's still there. But I see we got also the Aleximus Prime, the awesome Brony in there. Which, interesting thing, I just apparently found out a WWE wrestler is a Brony. One of the members of the New Day. Very interesting group. Then we got the Keyblade Xemnas. Then we have Soma, which I keep forgetting what Soma reminds me of because I know it's from some anime. Wait, was it Food Wars for some reason? I guess.
To me, it sounds like Latin.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's one of the main characters, Soma Yukihara, who's the dear lord. That guy is just meh. The cooking's good, just the behavior, meh. Oh, and apparently, also we just found out. What is it? Was it WWE? Yeah, that's who I'm talking about. It's one of the New Day members that made the My Little Pony reference, because he apparently came out as one of them. And there was some other guy, I guess. Then William Shatner's apparently a brony and actually voiced a character.
Oh my god, that is hilarious.
Oh, Dr. Spock, please shine my hooves. That's probably the worst Shatner voice I've done. Impersonation, anyways. What the? Okay, add me in now, bro. Okay. Let's see here. Just go to Google Hangouts and I'll add you in. Let me see here. Let's see. Keyblade. Feminist. Okay. What the? Okay, I don't know what's up with that. Try again. I don't know what's up with that. So for some reason it won't let me use the Hangouts on him. Okay, so I will just send it to him the Google Plus page and just send him in a private post. That way he can get in.
Yay! He's one of my favorite people.
He's one of your favorite peeps?
Yeah.
Well, you get to have your favorite peep in here. Just don't forget, Zemnis, to join also the Discord group we got going on. That's where we'll be going for the after thing. Yeah. Aleximus actually just kind of called me out on it. It's like that I actually sounded nothing like Kirk.
No. You know what?
I won't. I don't, and I probably won't.
You know what? I think Dick Mignogna actually got him to watch Full Metal Alchemist, and he said it was amazing.
What, William Shatner?
Yeah. I think I remember watching.
That would be awesome, honestly.
That is really cool.
I wonder what Shatner thinks of him being like the new Kirk and the whole like favorite thing that they're doing.
I think I was.
Oh wow! Oh, never mind. He wasn't talking about me. He was talking about the character that Shatner voiced in MLP. Okay, well, good point there. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look. I've been looking at some of these different fandom things, and to me, the most I can't understand is the whole brony concept, honestly. But I'm trying to look into it. I don't think it's like, sinful. You're gonna go to hell. Yeah, being a brony kind of thing.
I am so surprised at how popular it is among guys. It's just astounding.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's drawn up a fan base with the way that they've done the art style these days. I mean, it's not just that; it's the other cartoons as well. Like Gravity Falls is definitely, and Steven Universe have picked up a similar kind of following.
Well,
So I don't know. What I think it is just we're living in a time where some of these cartoons are starting to become a little more clever and quirky. That they're able to get this much of a big following to the point where it's like, soon these things need their own cons, meaning like My Little Pony's got its own con.
I'm wondering if it may have to do with the nostalgia factor. Like, it was originally from the 70s, so the toy line itself. And it had its own TV show in the late 70s, early 80s, too. In fact, I grew up watching one of them.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I remember the movies. Like one of them was like a purple sludge, and you're gone, aren't you? Oh, there we go. It was like a purple sludge of ooze and stuff. It was going across the Ponyville land, and certain types of ponies had to come together and unite. I don't recall what the storyline was about, other than kind of like propaganda on the environment.
Propaganda environmentos.
Mm-hmm.
You mean propaganda environmentalism films?
It was kind of almost like that.
Like Captain Planet was an entire propaganda show?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, apparently Alexis is saying that the thing was called the Smooze. They brought that back in the new show, and he's green now.
Really? That's what it was, yeah.
I'm honestly lost. But anyways, yeah, I mean, again, Alex, if you want to come in now, I mean, we would be more than happy to have you on board, mate. Just gotta figure out what the heck is going on, and I don't know if where Xemnas is at, because I saw he was here earlier, and I told him he can join. But I don't know, maybe he's taking his time or something happened.
It might. I don't know if it's maybe like how he has to reload his computer or something, like my HP. Don't judge me, y'all.
Don't judge her. All right, so we should get some. All right, so we may get Alex showing in. Okay. Great. I'm trying to think of what to do. I can't send the link on Twitter on the public post, because then that'll give access to other people to check it out and get into it, and then that'll lead to some problems. So I don't know. Check if you have, because I'm sure with YouTube there's sure to be a resurrection of the G Plus account. Maybe on there, Aleximus. Yeah. Okay. For some, I see it right there. Go to a G Plus and check your page, and I'll tag you the link to join in the post. We could test your connection there, and bam. All right, so we'll see how that goes. And I see we got the Keyblade master finally to get in the room. How you doing, Mike?
My dude. First of all, I changed my the first name on my thing from Master to Keyblade because but anyway, dude, me and my friend were texting each other and she was telling me about her church and literally you answered the way. She doesn't like it there, right? So I'm sorry, this might be going off topic on your thing. I just wanted to say this real quick. But
Go ahead.
Talking about how people aren't really polite to her and stuff like that. And then that same time she said that, I got that text, you said something about being polite to people is what, coals on their head? That scripture?
Oh, that was me.
I just thought that was that's the timing, dude. I don't know. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right. I'm going to hop back out of here.
Oh, well, if you want to ask a question on here real quick, I mean.
I had a question last week, but I forgot what it was.
Dang.
Oh, no. I was talking with my teacher about, he has because I told him I want to do some philosophy stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he asked me if I'm he said, you want to do apologetics, right? And I was like, yes. And art and animation and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And he was like, he believes that Revelation, the book of Revelation, is all made up. It was a drug trip. If you heard of Ergo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That Like, and I tried to tell him and stuff like that. He believes Jesus came back like the first time, right? But I asked him like, how do you? He couldn't really answer this, but I asked him like, how do you believe that Jesus came back the first time, but you don't believe he'll come back again? Like, even he said it. It's not even just in Revelation; it's in the Gospels too. I don't know if that's really a question. That's kind of like a statement.
Well, like, so saying that it's the book of Revelation, but not the Gospels, that's fiction.
He was saying he just didn't believe Revelation. He doesn't believe Jesus will come back in Revelation. But I told him like it says it in the other Gospels that like he said it himself that he's gonna come back, and he still doesn't believe it.
Well, that's an
I
interesting.
guess he just
concept.
doesn't want to.
Yeah, I mean, personally,
I guess he just doesn't.
I think some of the rejections of these clearly laid out teachings are just because people have a certain emotional zeal against them. Basically, because I mean, I've debated universalists and such that have admitted that these texts have read that, but they either, say, well, we can also interpret it in different ways. Just, I can interpret it in a way that I feel is more comfortable with my rendering and such. So, I mean, people are going to have different ideas and precepts about something. So, but yeah, I mean, as far as the Book of Revelations goes, I mean, the early church seemed to have considered it canon, and some of the early church members were taught by the apostles, so they had the ability to discern whether or not these things were, of God, and if the apostles would approve it. So I think it's fair to say that the Book of Revelation is true and it is real, and it bases itself upon the other scriptures that had been written down. So I don't think one could just simply simply ignore Revelation, because even the language of Revelation can be found in places like Matthew and such, where Jesus does talk about the return of the Son of Man. That's referring to him, and he makes that promise that he's going to be coming back.
Yeah, I guess he's just rejecting it, like, well, I don't know what I could do from then. I already told him. He already has the evidence. I guess he just doesn't want to. I guess that's the end of things right there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'll just keep praying for him, I guess.
Yeah, sure thing, man.
Yeah, buddy. And I'm sorry if you hear this background.
No, man, you're good. You're good. You're fine.
Simness, you must do a little bit more mercy on yourself. I saw your video about your art. It looks wonderful.
I mean, it would have been better if because I could draw better than that. I'm not trying to be that type of person, but I could draw better than that. It's because I was holding the camera with one hand and I was trying to draw,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's probably the chin. Oh my gosh, dude. I'm trying to speak over my brother if you couldn't tell.
I think it's okay to do it realistically every once in a while. It does. You don't have to do it all the time with anime style. You have to cut. It has to be as sharp as a knife to do the character.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, so we're gonna try to get to some of the other. We're gonna try to, I guess, go back around again to do the questions, but we're gonna have some people that are gonna be hopefully coming on. Let's see here. Liz, apparently was wondering if Sister Hipster was here, because I guess recognized a new kind of look with the avatar than what normally used to seeing.
Yeah.
Dang it, I forgot to send all the other peeps up on Skype. Or the last stuff, Aleximus, you're not going to be a distraction for the show. I mean, at this point, we don't have much people on here, so we're trying to do as much conversation and much interaction as we can. Most of the thing about this is for me to interact with the fans of and such. So That's one of the things I like enjoy doing. Plus, it gives me a chance to answer any theological questions. So, nah, man, you good. All right. So, let me check Twitter, see if he. There we go. All right, so it works. I'm not going to read what he said. All I'm doing is sending the link. All right. So hopefully he will be in here within a few.
Yay.
All right. Let me just okay. So is Christian Man back? Because I haven't heard of him in a long.
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just playing Final Fantasy Tactics.
You're getting into that game, huh?
Dude, it's one of the best strategy games that Square Enix ever made.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why you're looking at why you're enjoying it, and not the sight of some of the women in there.
Hey, don't you dare do that to me.
Which one is it? Is it 12?
It's the original Final Fantasy Tactics spin-off game from the PlayStation.
Oh, okay.
Dude, that game. That's the only Final Fantasy game I don't think I'm gonna play. Straight up, the enemies are what Christians, right?
No,
Uh-oh.
it's a corrupt. No, the entire game's about a corrupt religious organization. Like the religion is like completely detached from like our modern day world. It's a completely different religion.
No, I haven't played the game, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, Final Fantasy does have a tendency sometimes to be anti-religion, but it's not anti-Christian per se. They just make up some special religion where it's corrupt and everything. And every religion somehow has some level of corruption in it.
Genova. Final boss of, well, spoiler.
Okay, my question would be, what's your thoughts of people when they were okay, what's a question I can ask? Favorite book?
The Bible.
Well, in fiction.
Now you just have to pull up a hard one, haven't you? What was my favorite
Quran.
fiction? Well, that'd be one of them.
Sorry.
But
What's one of them?
the Quran. Yeah. But no, what's actually a good one? Because I remember there's this one book that I used to read in class, in school. It was about this girl and her brother, and they basically were like abandoned or something on a ship, or on an island and such. And it was like a very graphic type of book too. And we was just in middle school reading, and it was like showing like the dangers of like these two, just the like 16 or 17-year-old girl and her like 11-year-old brother, and they're having to survive on an island. They're basically like, tribal type of people too. So they don't have communication with the other world and such. So and every time the chapter would end with the audiobook, that some music would start playing, and every time it did that, something would be intense that it was really one of those books we just wanted to continue reading. We didn't want it to wait till the next day or next week. We wanted to know now what happened, No, it wasn't Lord of the Flies. It was something else. The characters were just a dog, a girl, and a boy. That was it. Yeah. I'll have to go find out where this is.
One of my favorite books is Mrs. 15 and the Rats of Nim.
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. 15 and the Rats of Nim. 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 15 and the Rats of
Do, 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 do.
Guess mine would be Chronicles of Narnia in general.
I have,
Yeah.
to start, I have to start reading it.
I haven't looked at any C. Lewis's deal. By the way, we're gonna to get some time past. We're gonna have Mr. Smith come in to explain a bit about the brony stuff in here, because right now we don't have much questions at the moment. With I don't know what's happening. I don't think anyone else is having I don't think Steve's great debate community's got anything going on today. At least I don't think. I do know there was a very interesting discussion that I saw between Aaron Ra, one of the famous atheists, and an individual who goes by the name of Mr. Intelligent Design. And that guy is just...
He's something else.
He basically is saying, like, he's the only one that has the true intelligent design formula. Like, Stephen Meyer, Michael Behe, and all these others got it wrong, and he's the only one who knows the true intelligent design thing.
I'm going to spoil it for you guys. It's young Earth creationism.
Pretty much. All right. But yeah, I mean, hopefully I'll get another debate back on that community. I did do the one with Marshall Mathers, the Islamic apologist. Anyways.
I mean, I don't really particularly, this is just my opinion. It's not going to get people to heaven to know how everything came to be. Did Adam have a belly button?
Yeah. Ironically, I think that was one of the conversations I had with something about that got mentioned with Justin in the podcast a while back, like had something about a belly button or something. Nah, I don't know how that happened. Okay, so what's this? Aleximus is going to try to join us. Hopefully it works.
I get to hear your voice this time.
Wait, what?
I get to hear his voice this time.
I was able to hear his voice when I saw some of his videos.
Oh, I didn't know he had a. I didn't know he had a YouTube channel.
Well, now you know. And speaking of which, here he is.
Alex? No.
You got your mic muted at the moment, Alex. There you go.
Hey guys, can you hear me okay?
Here he is. Yep.
Hello?
Yep, I can hear you.
Oh, you can? Okay. 'cause
Yeah,
I
do you have
can't-
your YouTube on? Because we're hearing an echo of
Of us.
Yeah, that's my YouTube. That's actually the first account I ever had on the internet. But
yeah, try muting the YouTube thing, because we're hearing echo on your end there.
oh, that's what it is. Okay. All right, good. I can hear you through the actual Hangout. I just have that open so I can link it to my Twitter followers, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, no problem, Mike.
Okay, let me do that right now. You guys can talk amongst yourselves real quick while I just type that up real quick in my Twitter.
Sure thing, mate. Welcome to have you, by the way. Shalom.
Thank you.
No problemo. While he's doing that, sister, do you have a question to ask? Or shall we pass the mic down to the Keyblade?
Oh, hold on.
Hold on. All right. I'm waiting in anticipation. Or as Tim Curry once said, anticipation.
Okay. Explanation on Romans 12:2 in context.
Romans 12:2. Wait, whoa, that just threw me out for the order right there. Romans 12, then go back all the way to 2. Okay. All right, so 12, God's mercies move. beseech you, brethren. Wait. Oh yeah, that's the verse where it says that be not conformed to the world, but be transformed and such. Okay, and then Romans 2, like what? I'm trying to figure out like what you mean by the context there.
You know, whole verse or something like everything in the, I guess in the chapter over and under and through the woods.
So you're saying of Romans 12 and then Romans 2, or Romans 12 too?
Romans 12 too.
Okay, that's where I got thrown off for a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But be conformed. So the first thing he says in verse 1 is part of the key context here. And he says, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies as a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable to service. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. So this is goes back to kind of what Jesus had said about, you know, the bearing of fruits and such, and then what James talks about, and then kind of what Paul explains also in some other passages, is that we see this issue about bearing fruit, of showing the evidence of salvation in your walk in Christ. So I'm going to put this up on my server right now. So right here we have the first thing he goes into in the passage before he addresses the conforming passage is that he's reaching out to them, saying that by the mercies of God, present your bodies as a living sacrifice. In other words, just keep in mind of what your body is and honor it with the Lord by saying it's holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. You know, serve your body in a way that that honors the Lord. So that's what he again goes to say. The one way you can do this is do not conform to this world. In other words, its ways, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, referring to when one is born again, when one is baptized and has this repentance or this change of mind towards certain things in life, that you may prove that what is good and acceptable and perfect will of God. So that way you can prove to people the goodness of God and such. Hopefully that was able to help out with that one.
Actually, that's where Sister Hipster comes from.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you for the question there, sis. All right. Alex, you there, mate?
Yeah. Just real quick. You guys asking questions? Are they questions from people in the chat, or are they questions that we're asking each other?
Well, for the questions, I people can have asked it from the live chat.
Okay.
People have asked it on Twitter. People have asked it on Discord. What else is there? Discord, Twitter, and the YouTube live chat, of course. And then, of course, you have it on here.
Yeah, I was talking about the YouTube live chat, if because that's what I linked to my Twitter. If any of my followers decide to come in there, probably won't be many because it's kind of late.
Yeah.
What is it you guys would like to know specifically first? Just explain the Brony fandom, what it is and everything, how it came to be.
Well, the one thing I do want to know about it, I guess this is where tonight we're also going to have like a little reverse role playing of the asking Christian Anarchist thing at this point. What I want to know is concerning the fandom is, you know, I've heard some things about the furry fandom, for example, that, you know, you have the very over-sexualized stereotype.
Oh yeah.
Does the Brony fan base have any of that or any other kinds of negative stereotypes that, you know, causes people to want?
Every fandom does. Every fandom does. It's completely inescapable. It's like it's as they like to say, a rule of the internet, which is kind of dumb to say, but in other words, you know, like if it exists, that's what Rule 34 is. If it exists, there's porn of it. Unfortunate, but true, because, you know, there's sick people on the internet. But yeah, there's that, and see, this is how the fandom started out, because I've been in it like really early, since 2011, and the show came out in 2010. And I already knew it was coming out, but I wasn't really interested because, you know, My Little Pony. I was more into Transformers at that time, which is where my name came from. Obviously, my name, Optimus Prime. I kept it because it was just iconic, and that's how people knew me. But at some point in early 2011, I started noticing on the internet, and this might be leading up to the whole thing, is there sexualized fan art. This is the weird thing. The fandom actually sort of started on 4chan. I'm pretty sure you guys know what 4chan is, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
the
and that's
supervillains of the internet.
weird thing about it. But on 4chan, all sorts of things go around there. Usually discussions about, you know, cartoons and everything. It was on I think the CO board, the Cartoons and Comics board. And this was like late 2010, early 2011. I didn't even know any of this was happening because I hadn't joined quite yet. People just really started liking the show, and the reason being, I mean, if you've ever enjoyed, you know, a good animated Disney film, it's pretty much got the same feel. If you watch the show, enough of the show, it's like watching a good Disney movie or any kind of animated movie or any good cartoon. Like you guys have said, there are quite a lot of bronies who are anime fans too, and that's why they liked it, because it's, you know, it's like a kids show, but it's a grown-up kids show. You know, it's like one that adults can enjoy. In fact, there's actually jokes, like inside jokes and references in the show that kids aren't even going to get to begin with. So
right, and that's the thing that I have found. But at the same time, I think one of the arguments to play devil's advocate at this point is that you know, other kids shows also likewise have that same kind of humor, and I've noticed it with some of the cartoons that I was watching with my nephew these days. Especially some of these new ones. I mean, my goodness. I mean, I almost feel like I could get into those things, but at the same time, I mean, I forget, isn't My Little Pony thing, that's still got like the TVY7 rating, correct?
Oh, it does. The funny thing is, though, and you won't believe this, but there are a couple, I guess, mild sort of like references. Like, there's this one line in the show where this one character, he was drinking some punch, like some fruit punch. Spike the dragon, he's this little like young dragon, and he drank all of it, and then he fell asleep, and they were all like looking at him like, oh, look at that. And then one of the characters said, looks like the punch has been spiked, because his name is Spike.
Yeah.
So that's an a booze joke.
Yeah.
And then there are tons of these times in My Little Pony when there are characters, like pony characters, who resemble a real life person, like a celebrity or a historical figure. There are these characters in this one episode in a bowling alley who resemble the characters from The Big Lebowski, an R-rated adult film. So try figuring that one out, you know?
Yeah.
And I've never seen The Big Lebowski. I don't really care to watch it, but that's is like the people writing it really knew what they were doing. The woman who created this show is named Lauren Faust, and she is the wife of Craig McCracken, who created the Powerpuff Girls, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, all of which are also well-received cartoons. And I haven't seen enough of Powerpuff Girls to really say for sure, but I did see quite a bit when I was a kid. But I'm pretty certain they've all got, you know, some more grown-up kind of themes. And so again, yeah, that's why bronies like it. But on 4chan, you know, there's a stigmatization behind, a guy liking a show that's meant for little girls. Well, that's unheard of. That's what he's either probably gay or he's like severely autistic, blah, 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 you know. So naturally, 4chan being the wonderful place that it is, had tons of people from like the B board or whatever trolling the living heck out of the bronies because they thought, these guys like My Little Pony. This is so, we can definitely get them for this. So there's this huge kind of like internet war on 4chan in early 2011. It got so bad that the moderators of the site started banning anybody who mentioned ponies. And so it eventually got to a point where the creator of the site, I think he was called Luke, he ended up making an actual board for My Little Pony. It's the MLP board. You can actually go there and discuss ponies, but I wouldn't recommend it because it's 4chan. You're you're gonna find porn and stuff like that. I don't even go to 4chan, so.
No, I don't go to 4chan. I mostly anything I've done really has just been either to debate.org or Discord or any of that stuff. Most of the time, I just spend reading books, working, or reading my Bible in most parts.
There's some good has come out of 4chan. I've heard stories about how they've like tracked down predators and stuff, which, you know, like good people can be on 4chan, but that's the kind of funny thing about all this. You know, an innocent kids show like My Little Pony's fandom starts on a very adult-rated forum like 4chan, but the bronies. See, I didn't start there. Fandom when I found it, I just heard some people on DeviantArt talking about it, and I started to notice some people I knew were either like uploading the episodes to YouTube or drawing their OC, you know, their original character as a pony. So I just kind of was like, oh, this looks cute. I like the style and everything. And finally I decided to start watching it. The first episode I watched was the one that had just aired that week, and I think it was like the 15th episode in the first season. And then I watched the next 4 that came out those next 4 weekends. And then finally, before spring break started, I sat down with myself and I decided, let's start from the beginning. So I started back to the beginning of the first season with the pilot episodes. And after I saw the pilot episodes, I was pretty much hooked from then. I just loved it so much. I didn't get any of my homework done that week. And I have really good memories about this because this was actually when I found out what a brony was. I didn't even know what that was at first. I thought it used to be like a fan-made term for the male characters in the show. Like instead of saying stallion, you say brony. You know, it turns out that's the fan name, kind of like Star Trek fans are Trekkies or Trekkers or whatever. So I started like exploring a little bit more for fan art and everything online, and I was finding tons of stuff. And I discovered, wow, there's a huge fan base, and it's a lot of it, they're men, like they're actual men who are like, they're not like effeminate men or anything like that. They're actually proud to watch the show.
Right.
There's no loan, because I already loved the show, but it was great to know that so many other people loved it and it was considered cool. We were like the deviants of the internet at that time. It was such a new thing. Like nobody saw it coming. It came right out of a left field, and we took the internet by storm. That was 2011. And that video I sent you, Christian, that's by a friend of mine named Saberspark. He's a well-known member of the community.
Yeah, I saw a video of his last night where he goes over the worst cartoons on Cartoon Network and such.
Oh yeah, that's his most recent video. Yes, you saw that too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he doesn't really do pony content anymore. Now he just does like general like talking about entertainment and cartoons and stuff. He's gotten a lot more followers though, because he's kind of reaching out more. Even though he doesn't do as pony related things, he appears on 1 or 2 different podcasts with several of his friends who are also prominent members in the fandom, and he attends conventions a lot. He's at like different panels. He's at the Whose Line Is It Anyway panel, which is basically a parody of Whose Line Is It Anyway. It's really fun. I've talked to him before, but that's he also made a second documentary. I think part of it gotten taken down though for copyright on YouTube. But that's Saber, and there's so many other people in the fandom. I just got to check something real quick. If anybody has seen my tweet earlier, if they've joined the chat, it doesn't look like it. That's okay though.
No, we got at least I've seen a couple people. Like Alexia the Rook was in here.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, like the tweet earlier, somebody did. Yeah, there's probably a couple people that might join. Well, we were talking about Saberspark earlier, about his the Brony documentary.
Yeah.
Oh, here's something you guys might be interested in hearing. In terms of, since this is a Christian podcast, I might as well segue into that kind of. In terms of, is the Brony fandom Christian? Well, it's not all, like, there's a lot of people in the fandom who are Christian, but there's also a lot of people who are, agnostic. There's a lot of people who are like right-leaning. There's some who are left-leaning. Like I'm a conservative, but I've got plenty of liberal friends, and I love my liberal friends. You know, you know, like I love all my agnostic, atheist friends. It's very diverse, and it's pretty, for the most part, I'd say in terms of like religion and politics, pretty neutral. Like there aren't really as many like wars or anything. You know, it's not like I mean, I have seen a lot go on after, you know, the election, all the fear mongering and the hatred and stuff. But the fandom has done pretty good on that part. In terms of Christianity, like I said, there are quite a few people who are Christians. One person I have to brag about this person because I love him so much is you might have seen me tweet about him before, Christian, is Gabe Brown or Black Griffin.
I've seen several posts where you're like talking to him or mentioning him.
Yes, definitely. See, now here's a guy who's a really positive influence he found the show around the same time I did. And at first I just saw like his artwork and stuff. And we kind of ended up becoming fans of each other's work. But it started coming out he can also sing like insanely well. He can animate really well. He animated these funny little like custom animations of characters from the show, which that's the other thing about the fandom is it's really, really active in terms of fan works. Like we've got all kinds of, you know, fan art and these huge like animated projects, which people put so much of their time and heart into that you do really surprised what they do. And Black Griffin is one of the most well-known people in the community, and he's a Christian, just like me. And
nice.
Oh, actually, I just remembered Saber's a Christian too. He's not as vocal about it, but yeah. And Gabe Black Griffin, he's got CDs. His family is in their own Christian band. It's called. They're on YouTube, by the way. Look up Family Plan Music. What's the name of their album? I've got it right here. Space Available. I have to promote it because it's not as popular. And he's also been in several of his own CDs. By the way, as if he couldn't get any more well known, he's so insanely talented. He actually caught the attention of the staff who work on the show, and he's actually done some background vocals for some of the songs in the show itself. Also, another thing, have any of you guys watched the ASDF series?
Yep, I've seen that. Only thing I'm familiar with that is beep, beep, I'm a sheep. Said beep, beep, I'm a sheep.
That's him. That's Gabe's voice. He sang that song.
What?
That's Gabe Brown, Black Griffin. You can go look it up again.
Wait, hold on. I thought that was what's his name? Lil Deuce.
He didn't do the sing. I think he did like the animating or the song or something. Or no, Tom Ska is the one who I think animates the ASDF series. I don't know, but no, that's Gabe singing, and also, and then we'll move on to something else. But
it says Tom Ska and Black Griffin.
If that wasn't enough, he, believe it or not, also did a voice in Finding Dory. Yeah, you know Becky. You know Becky the Loon?
No, I haven't seen Finding Dory yet, but okay. Becky
well, for anyone who has the voice of Becky the Loon in Finding Dory, all he had to do was make squawking sounds. They had him audition and they took his voice. He didn't know until the movie came out. Yeah, I mean that's just one of many. There's quite a few Christians in the fandom, and because the show is called My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. And it talks a lot about very positive things like friendship and harmony. And it's called Friendship is Magic for a reason, which I'm not going to actually explain because I didn't watching. The pilot episodes pretty much explain why it's called Friendship is Magic. And that's pretty much what the show is about. It's like, preaches like good messages about, friendship and everything. Pretty, like borderline Christian messages. In fact, there's one episode where they pretty much directly quote the Bible. The character who learned a lesson, it was Spike. He said at the end of the episode, "I learned today it's better to give than to receive." you know, the Bible verse, it is more blessed to give than to receive.
Mhm.
So, and I was really surprised when I heard that, you know, being a Christian myself.
Right.
So, and I do have quite a few friends like on Twitter and everything who are very understanding about that, about the whole Christian aspect of things. And like nobody in the fandom is like a zealot about it. Like we're not shoving anything down each other's throats.
Oh yeah.
Usually,
I mean, you can ask some of the people that I've worked with. I mean, I'm a upcoming voice actor in regards to. I mean, I don't know if you've heard of, huh?
You're a voice actor?
Well, at the moment, it's kind of like rookie amateur kind of stuff. Like, you ever heard of the group Hero No Hero?
What's that?
You ever heard of a group called Hero No Hero?
No. Sounds like anime, is it?
Yeah, it's an abridged group, and we are currently doing in the middle of a Dragon Ball Super abridged.
And
I'm
something of a voice actor myself. I did provide one of the villainous characters. You've more likely seen artwork of him online. His name is Discord. He's a former villain, but I won't say how. In this little series, it's a crossover of Portal and My Little Pony. Actually, it's a crossover of a bunch of things, but a friend of mine that series, and I did the voice of Discord in that. And I'd like to, I'd like to do a lot more voice acting, especially being inspired by people like Gabe, who is getting into doing a lot more voice acting himself, obviously, and singing. And I've got myself I'm not using it right now, actually. I didn't want to take the time to plug it in, but I just got myself a Blue Yeti microphone.
Nice.
Yeah.
I got a Blue Snowball. That's what I'm using.
Oh, nice. Yeah, they're both from the same company, but a lot of people use.
We're Blue Brothers.
I actually didn't know that was the company. I thought it was the actual product was called the Blue Yeti, but no, Blue is the name of the company.
Mm-hmm.
The model of the microphone.
Yeah.
So yeah. But is there anything else you'd like to know about, like the fandom, or rather the show itself?
Well, I guess
because like the show and the fandom are still different, but you should know that the staff who work on the show are very like well versed in the fandom. Like they're friends with popular community members. They chat with them on Twitter and everything. Some of them are like really close friends. Like Gabe actually lives with and works with his daughter, does the voice of a prominent character in that show. Her name is Michelle Kreber. She's the voice of Apple Bloom, and when she started doing it, she was like 10, 11 when they started making the show. She's 18 now. It's been that long, and I know Michelle myself, not as well as I know Gabe, but I've gotten to talk to quite a few who've worked on the show, like to get autographs or whatever. I don't get many chances to. I only come to conventions on the East Coast, but I actually am flying out to one in Milwaukee next month.
Well, for all the people up in Milwaukee, if you happen to see this sucker in town, give him a heads up now.
Well, I'm actually running a panel up there too.
Woo!
So, yeah, it'll be the first time I do that.
Yeah, that's.
Anyways, I think are there any other questions about?
Well, I only got one more question before we get back into the Q&A formation, and that is the one thing that has bothered me the most about it. Again, I haven't seen the show. Who knows? I may decide to watch a couple just because I get bored at times. What the heck is up with these things I hear called cutie marks? Which, for those who don't know what that is, just so y'all know, at least it's something that I, as a non-brony, know, is that thing that seems to be on Alex's brony butt, apparently, on that
It's
picture.
on their phone. Yeah. It's on the ponies. That's from the show, actually. It's they've always had those in the My Little Pony franchise, although they never really explained them until this show came out. They're just the marks, the little like images that represent like whatever it is they are good at. In the show, they appear on a pony's flank when they figure out what their like what their true calling is, but it doesn't happen until they figure out what that thing is. Like, I'm not going to tell about the Cutie Mark Crusaders. That's a big spoiler. That's later on in the show. But there are these characters called the Cutie Mark Crusaders. They're these three young little girl ponies who don't have their cutie marks yet, and they're trying to find out what their destiny is. So throughout trying to figure it out and trying to get them. So that's one thing you can kind of look forward to if you go through the show itself, is every episode with them, what are they going to learn this time? There's many different kind of overarching plots throughout the show, and they're not even the main characters. They're actually considered I think side characters. The main characters are the 6 main characters who I'm not going to tell why they're the main characters, because that might be a bit of a spoiler too. So yeah, that's what a cutie mark is, pretty much, the little image on their butts.
Yeah. So then final question then. What does yours then represent? If everyone has their own unique calling in that case, what the heck does yours say? Because I see a rainbow snake that looks like it's gonna strike.
It's a paintbrush painting all the colors of the rainbow. Well, not all of them, the 6 colors. In the show, for whatever reason, there's 6 of them. Why I had that be the my cutie mark is because I was actually having a really hard time deciding what it would be. I didn't create my my pony avatar that's in that image until about a year after I found the show. I was deciding, okay, what should it be? I thought a paintbrush and a computer mouse. But then I wondered, a computer mouse would look weird because they don't actually have computers in the show, although it sometimes seems like they might, because there's certain technology that you see that makes you think, well, if they've got that, they probably have computers. But the reason why I made mine, it's a paintbrush painting all the colors of the rainbow, is because to have this kind of property in real life and the show. Whenever somebody looks at a rainbow, they get all happy. Every time my mom sees a rainbow, she gets all happy, and it's a rare sight. Seeing a rainbow after it's rained. So I figured, since my art seems to make people really happy, because I generally draw really cute stuff that attracts, it makes them happy. So I figured, if I'm an artist, I've got a paintbrush, it's painting the rainbow. But Sister Hipster, I just realized in your icon, it's got the colors of the rainbow on your name up there too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what that's supposed to represent, and it's just stuck all the way through. So it's kind of funny, because some people not in the show, but in the fandom, I see some people making really just not original images for their cutie marks. Some people put in an Xbox controller, but it's not a drawn out original controller. It's an actual an actual image from the internet on the flank of their pony, and they draw it like that. And I see that, and as an artist, I'm just no, you don't do that. You draw your own thing, even if it's drawn really badly. It's more original than doing that. But yeah, that is one challenge when you come up with your OC, is try to find out what their cutie mark should be. The term, by the way, this is funny. The term for ponies that don't have their cutie marks yet is blank flank.
Blank flank.
Yep. Yes, I'm serious.
Well then, the more you know, kids. Anyways, but yeah, thank you for the enlightenment on the brony fandom. I'm gonna try to take a look at the whole kind of thing, because the one thing I've learned is I can at least even though I'm not a furry and such, I could still appreciate some of the art forms and some of the people themselves. And I guess the same can be done with My Little Pony, if a certain tolerance can be done about that. Because I mean, there are certain shows that I'll be able to watch if I know that there's a good, decent fan base behind it, and plus if it's actually entertaining. Because I've noticed that a lot of these kid shows these days seem to be acting a little more mature, and I kind of like that, because in a way it's kind of goes for both audiences can watch it. And plus, it treats the others as like, you know, they're not just simply little kids. It's actually getting them to think. You know, kind of like Teen Titans was back in my day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know what you'll think of the fandom, because like there are some kind of immature people in the fandom. You might find like artwork you don't really agree with necessarily. It doesn't necessarily mean the person's bad. It just, you know, like in the world of art, you're going to find like so, you know, very sexual stuff, or heaven forbid, some really pornographic stuff, which I don't care for.
Yeah, it's kind of
like hentai. Yeah. And I mean, that's you guys would know what that feels like. The anime fan base has plenty of that. But the show itself, there's really nothing morally wrong about the show at all. So I mean, if you're concerned about that, trying out the show is there's nothing, like I said, there's nothing you really need to fear. Just like I said earlier with that booze joke that they made, that's very mild. There's a couple little just sort of gags or references, which it should actually please you, because at least you know, while this show's grown up, they're not afraid to, you know, mention this. Like, they're not afraid to create somewhat darker themes with certain episodes in order to get a point across to help kids learn these things. You know, we can't just shut out kids from the world. They have to learn something eventually. They have to, you know, they have to take baby steps. We can't just show a really mature show to kids. You know, but My Little Pony is obviously a very good teaching tool for kids. But I've always said it's good for adults too, because, you know, when we become adults, a lot of the times we forget our morals. In watching a show like that, you know, we might bring it back. And I've heard good stories about some people who are like really messed up before they found this show. Like, I've heard some stories about people who were like suicidal before they found the show. But once they found it and started interacting with the fan base, they saw the light. I recently got in touch with a new friend who said he used to be a cyberbully before he found this show. So actually, you know, he didn't find the show first. He found Black Griffin's music first, and then that's how he got to the show, through Black Griffin. I didn't, like I said, I didn't know about the fandom before the show. I watched the show first, thinking, you know, there's some artists or some people who are fans of like retro cartoons who are into it. You know, that's but yeah, it's really changed a lot of people.
Yeah.
Environment for Christians, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the things that I would definitely like to get a check out is with this Black Griffin fellow, because like as you stated, he's a musician. He's also, you know, Christian and a fan of this whole thing. So one of the things that I think would actually kind of be interesting is I don't know if he'll have time for it, because I mean, based on what you've said so far, it sounds like he's a very busy guy. It's his job now to do what he does with the singing, the voice acting. So he used to, before he actually got on board with working on the show itself, he used to be able to lend his voice, I think, like, and probably not for free. He probably did get paid by some of them. Well, maybe not, because when it comes to fan-made projects, you can't really pay a person, because it's like, technically it's illegal. Like, original enough that you could, but right now he's being paid, obviously, to do voice work for the show, and he hasn't actually voiced a character yet. He will. He might even be in the movie coming up. So yeah. Well.
But yeah, Gabe is he's a very friendly person. Like, you won't regret contacting him if you ever have to. He's really, he might be busy. He does tend to talk to people out on Twitter if they send him like a cute picture they drew of his like mascot character or whatever. A lot of people, he has quite a fan base. A lot of people talk with him. So yeah.
Yeah, I want to at some point like see if I can get him for an interview on the theological discussion, because that would be an interesting conversation to have about, you know,
with Gabe.
Oh yeah.
He's on the way to spell his name is Black, spelled the way it sounds, and then Griffin is GRYPH0N. he used a 0 because like back when he tried getting on DeviantArt, someone else already used it with an O, so he just added a 0 in, and that's how it's spelled now to differentiate. So that's how everybody sees it now. So if you need to contact him, you could also just type in Gabe Brown, but just simply Gabe Brown or Gabriel Brown, and it'll pop right up.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be sure to try to get in contact, see if we can set something up, because I'm pretty sure that might be actually an interesting deal there. But yeah, thank you for the conversation on this. Definitely.
Sorry, just real quick. I don't know. He probably won't be needing to be paid for an interview, though. He does have an agent and a manager. So just in case, to be aware, probably not much. Probably not actually, because he is on the Semi Perfect podcast like every now and then, every 2 weeks. But that's another podcast I listen to that Saber Spark is in that. It's actually not a brony podcast. It's more like talk about whatever you can in the world of entertainment. So, but yeah, if you want to ever contact him, I'm sure he'd be great on this podcast someday.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
definitely we'll be sure to see what we can do. We're gonna see if we can get to the others' questions. By the way, you're free to stay in here, and if you got any questions or want to interact, because we do tend to have.
I have to walk away just real quick just to get a drink of water, but you guys can keep going.
Yeah, sure thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let us try to keep you prisoner here. We ain't fascists. We ain't Antifa. What was that, Keyblade?
Guess what? I actually seen like most of the first season. Don't judge me.
I related a lot to the character Fluttershy because there was some episodes where I felt so much like her. And I love the growth that she had, especially with dealing with a bull that like who was supposed to be some sort of
Iron Will.
Yes. Him and
Iron Will.
I don't know why that's so fun.
That's Iron Will. I can do his voice really good. I probably shouldn't have done that. Now my voice is going to go.
Just wanting to assert herself, and I so needed that.
Yeah. But
Equestrian girl.
Wait, what?
Oh, those are the human ones. Yeah.
And we got
a human.
Do you happen to know whoever played have you ever heard of Super Mario Logan, that YouTube channel?
Super Mario Logan.
For I mean anybody or Leximus.
Heard of him?
Mm-mm.
It's like a parody channel, an animation channel.
Dude, I couldn't explain it, man. I don't know, but like he like.
Anybody hear me?
We can hear you, Preston.
I was just saying that apparently, like, we used to have like his YouTube channel. You know, on the old YouTube, there's like a speech thing, like on their channel, you could like talk and interact with them and stuff, and have conversations. Apparently, the voice actor of Pinkie Pie, who was like very young at that time, I guess.
Andrea Libman. Yeah.
You said what?
Her name is Andrea Libman. Yeah.
Andrea Libman. How old is she now? If you know.
Andrea Libman. She's probably older than me. She's probably in her 30s. She was the voice of Madeline in the cartoon of that name back in the 90s or whatever time it came out.
And that person must have lied to me. TBH.
Yeah.
Sounded just like him. No. Well, I mean, if I ever see that that person again, I guess I'll just ask if they know that. Because, like, apparently, I don't know. And if they're like, I don't know, then, yeah, I've been lied to.
Yeah.
I was 12 back then.
There could be a misunderstanding.
Thanks,
Anarchist,
for inviting me to the group. I will follow your rules. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's nice to meet you. I like your YouTube channel.
Came in at a...
Yeah, no problem, man. So welcome to the show. Preston, do you have a question you want to ask real quick?
Yes, I'm sure you know that like atheism, especially on the internet, is really popular. So I would like to know how you respond to all the atheists out there, because there's a lot of them on the internet.
I mean, depends what you mean by respond, because I respond to all kinds of claims and such that have been made. I mean, responses to claims about contradictions, responses to claims about, you know, certain evil morals that supposedly God does, all these kinds of things. So, you know, you have to be specific. I just respond by giving a response.
I'm talking about like the contradictions one. Like, you know, if they say that there's a contradiction in the Bible, how would you respond to that?
Okay. I would first ask, you know, which part are they defining as the contradiction? Because most of them aren't actually contradictions, and the ones that may slightly be contradictions are contradictions in the sense of just slight, very minute things, and that we would have today in society as contradictions, but we don't doubt that, you know, some events happened or something like that, such as the Nanking massacre, or even the numbers that were reported found dead at Holocaust and such. There are different numbers and such that contradict each other, but we know that they is still historically reliable that such an event happened.
I'm not saying none of that's true. Believe it or not, I've seen videos that is ridiculous if you believe it. There are people who deny the Holocaust. There's people that say, you know, Columbine and all that stuff never happened, you know, on the news.
Mm-hmm.
So I know what you're saying there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it would just depend on the contradiction, because most of them aren't contradictions.
Good response.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is that all you wanted to ask?
Somewhat, I guess, but I would like to learn things.
All right. Well, if you got any other questions, just let me know. But we're going to try to go into the order of things. So go into Keyblade. You there, man?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You got a question, man?
I don't think so.
Well, drats.
Did I say I had a question?
I think you said you had one and then you lost it a while back.
Oh. Okay.
But
no, it's fine.
No, I mean, if you don't got a question, man, we can just move on to the next person, which leads me to Alex.
Yeah.
Yep, you got a question for us, CA?
Yeah, actually, I'm sorry, I was in the middle of typing something. I wanted to ask this either last week, or I wanted to try to type it in. Actually, I think I wanted to ask you if I could come on and ask it, because it's like something I couldn't type in because there's a 200 character limit. You know that girl? It's really annoying. You know that girl that I mentioned last week in the podcast in the chat, who she's she used to be a Christian, then she went agnostic, but then like earlier this year she said she's rededicated her life to God, but now she's her Facebook says she's a Christian agnostic, which apparently that is a thing. I had to look it up.
Mm-hmm.
Being a Christian agnostic. Sometime after she said last time that she had become a Christian again, she then came out as bisexual. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with your sexuality or something. I just was kind of surprised. But now it's getting worse because of her the fact that she's saying she's Christian agnostic. Yeah, Christian agnostic. It's become apparent to me. Like I already told you how she seems to party a little too much. She talks a lot about being drunk or drinking in a humorous way. She'll post like a meme on Twitter, or something. And the thing is, she and I have gotten along pretty well in the past. I actually found her like on online through the Transformers fandom before I became a brony. She was like really young that time, like 16, 17 years old. We just kind of would like hang out and like talk can like write stories together or draw fan art together or whatever. She kind of moved on with her life though and got into the Coast Guard. And things seemed to be going well for a while. She actually used to like resent the whole brony thing. She was confused as to how I could like it. One day saying she actually tried the show and loved it. So I was happy to hear that. But now like what happened, what actually triggered me to say that to you last week in the chat wasn't necessarily actually the fact that she's, you know, she seems to be drinking a lot. She talks about how she probably at least casually, I don't know. But she made this post on Facebook that just really did not make me feel good. Basically, she said, I think she's a supporter of abortion. Like she's made posts like seem to be making fun of like the feminist movement, you know, which at least she knows that's crazy. But she has made some posts. It seems like she really doesn't like babies or the idea of having one. Like she says, like, I respect anybody out there who has a child or something, but like I can't see myself being a mother. And she's posted these, for lack of a better term, just really kind of crass like jokes and stuff about like childbirth or like being a mother and making it look horrible. And that didn't make me feel good because I have a sister who is a full-time, you know, like stay-at-home mom. She's got 2 kids and she's expecting a 3rd. And my friend made this really just kind of mean-spirited post saying, here's my unpopular opinion. I think everybody should only be allowed to have 2 kids. And you should only be allowed to have kids if you can pass like an eligibility test or something like that. And I don't know why somebody would say that. I mean, somebody in here in the hangout just said China.
Oh yeah, Keyblade.
Yeah, the Chinese have a policy where, since it's communistic, they are only allowed to have 2 children.
Didn't they get rid of that recently though?
I'm not really sure myself.
I've heard. Yeah, they did get rid of it. Who is Keyblade? Thank you. Yeah. Well, the reason she said her reasoning behind it was because of overpopulation. And apparently, like, there's too many people in the world and it's overpopulated. I don't know. I don't know the science or anything behind it, but she just like started giving these excuses like there are some species of animals which are overpopulated and need to have their population controlled. See, I don't get the whole fear of overpopulation thing, because as a Christian myself, the Bible says, you know, go forth and be fruitful. In other words, you know, I mean, like, it's okay if you know, parents want to have as many kids as they want. Plus, like, I'm in a family of 3 kids. I'm the oldest. My sister's the youngest. She's married to a guy who grew up in a family of 10 kids. They had a huge family, and she's the youngest, so she's one of 3, so she's the 3rd one. She's about to have a 3rd child. So, and the fact that my friend was saying it shouldn't go beyond 2, basically by her logic, my sister should have either been aborted or just not be born, and thus she wouldn't have a family now and wouldn't be having a 3rd kid, but she wouldn't exist to begin with. So this just, you know, this, like, I don't want to say offended, because, you know, the whole easily offended culture these days is ridiculous, but this hurt me because she didn't, I'm sure she knew, like, my family status, how many siblings I had. I think she's in a family of 2, if I recall correctly. But I told her, you know, like, this isn't a good idea. This, to see somebody post this, is hurtful. I mean, like, you've probably got plenty of friends who come from a big family. You probably look up to many celebrities who come from a big family, and this long kind of, I guess, rant. I was as mature as I could be. I just told her, you know, like, why would we want the government to mandate that sort of thing? You know, who knows what else they would do? Would they, like, you've got an autistic brother, and I'm, well, mildly autistic, Aspergic. I have Asperger's, by the way, for anyone that was wondering.
Same.
And I told her, you know, yeah. And I told her, what if the government started, like, eliminating anybody who had, like, mental issues or was just autistic? Would you like that, because like, you know, you've got a brother who's autistic, I'm autistic, you know, let that sink in. I can't remember what else I said, but she just got like defensive of it. And at first it sounded like she was trying to be logical with the whole overpopulation argument, but then she just started getting nasty, and then her friends started coming in and kind of like started getting nasty also. And I just eventually stopped talking, and I told her, I'll send you a note about this. I haven't even seen her response because I'm kind of afraid to look now, because I'm afraid I really might have like made her angry, you know, and she doesn't seem to be doing horrible after it happened, but like I said, I haven't read her response because it's been about a week since then, and I'm just kind of scared of what she might say. So that's kind of adding on to the whole thing about my friend who seems to have problems. You gave me good advice on how to approach her with the problems she's having, but on this particular topic of her, you know, talking about how like there should be population control, no more than 2 kids, and you should only have kids if you can like prove you're eligible or whatever. I mean, how do I, you know, exactly, do you have anything to say about it?
Of how to deal with this particular issue?
Yeah, her belief in, you know, the whole only 2 kids thing, you know, because I don't agree with that. I mean, I can understand why some people, like, she complains a lot about families who have like too many kids. She makes it sound like, oh, these parents are like not good parents. I can understand that. You know, if you see like parents who are like doing a terrible job, like down the aisle in Walmart, just yelling at their kids who are crying to get some toys and stuff, I can understand that. And you get more like a just cynical, like really mean-spirited, like, oh, I hate kids. Like, I wish parents wouldn't have so many of them. I don't want to have kids. And despite the fact that, you know, she's, by her own admission, you know, having sex at least casually, you know, what if she gets herself pregnant? She'll probably abort it, but that's what scares me, you know.
Yeah, and that's the thing we have to be careful with, is that, I mean, we do live in a world where sex is starting to become a thing where, you know, people take it for granted. It's basically just become a new kind of addiction, a new kind of casual, leisurely kind of thing, it seems. And I think the problem is,
you're talking about like sex or the whole like population control abortion aspect.
Well, I was gonna go there. I was just mentioning the last thing you mentioned there about the sex thing, but yeah, I agree. Yeah. But the population control thing. I mean, if you're gonna go there, I mean, the ideas that started with that usually have gone to lead to terrible regimes down the line.
Oh yeah.
And you don't know what will happen as soon as you start there. And to me, it just sounds ridiculous if in order to reduce the population, let's kill somebody. That's literally it. I'm sorry for those who want to say that it's not killing people, but it's agreed upon by the scientific community that when you have things like the embryo, the zygote, at a certain stage before it does have a moment where it is considered by scientists to be considered an organism.
Yeah, as soon as it has a nervous system, it's alive.
Exactly.
People will argue otherwise, but it is alive. It's
right. And then, of course, so agnostic Christian as well, being part of the principles that this person has, I'm sure would affirm the 10 Commandments. What is one of the 10 Commandments? Exodus 20:13. Thou shalt not murder. Thou shalt not kill, if you wanted to use King James and go for a general, but thou shalt not murder is the thing. And if you're going to murder, which is to kill with an intention, what is the intention? To kill the infant so that, you know, you're kind of just reducing the population and such. To me, that's just kind of unjust. I mean, what did the child ever do to deserve it? Just being born into the womb, really? Did the child really have a choice in that matter? You're going to make the decision without allowing the child to even have a chance at living life in this world? I mean, so you sometimes have to ask the question to them, because sometimes you have to wonder, what if you weren't born? What if you were the one that was caught off into the abortion aspect, you wouldn't begin to live in the wonderful life that we're living in today. Sure, there are times that are hard, but that's life. You can't just have this kumbaya moment every single time. Life's gonna suck. I mean, that's just how it works, but it pays off in the end. You have those moments where as soon as you're done with a terrible job you may have, or something bad that happens, who knows, you get to go home, watch some nice TV, or if you're married, you get to have some time with your husband or your wife or your kids, and fun times happen. But there's also the bad times, and you have to endure and be strong through them. And if you can't do that, then you're not going to handle life to the end, because it's going to keep coming and it's going to be harder and harder. But the leisurely times we have are also going to be just as pleasant as well. So to say allow abortion to do population control, to me, is the most silly thing. Rather, instead of about the control of population, how about trying to make the environment in which the population resides a better place? And if you think you can't handle raising more children than you can handle, or raising a child in general, then put the child up for adoption, so that way at least somebody can look after the child, especially those parents that are not able to have children. I mean, you have people that are unfertile, that their eggs are not able to work for the concern of the women, and that the men, the sperm is just not able to work well in getting the eggs fertilized. You have those kind of people, and the only way that it's going to work is if you adopt or inherit kids, like someone passes down or something, like one in a situation like an uncle or a relative dies, and you look after the children at that kind of point. It's those kinds of things where they would have the children. But adoption, definitely something that's a kid finally gets parents that would love him or her, and then the parents are going to have fun taking care of the kid and treating the kid like their own. So instead of population control, and if you want to look at the history of what this could do, look at the history of what societies have tried this and the problems that it has resulted in. Instead, let's not try to focus on reducing the population, but rather, what can we do for the population we have today? Because it's going to grow. Surely there's a way we can help with the population we have. So let's do that. Let's not try to just kill off people that really haven't done anything wrong, and let's start making society a better place. That would be the one thing that you should try to do. Not reduce the population, but to enhance the environment in which the population resides in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you make it very obvious with the thing, like, throughout history, population control has been very... My friend is smart enough to understand like that. Like she's against the whole kind of like the whole politically correct culture thing that's going on. Like so I think she would understand some of that. But she just like, there's this just one thing about her that, like, the thing with like kids and like parents shouldn't have more than 2 kids. That's the thing that is controversial in terms of her beliefs, and I'm sure she would understand that. But just to add a little, the population control, I mean, it's never, the world is overpopulated, but I don't think that, like, it could reach a bit of an overpopulation, but like I have faith in God that something will happen that will, stop it. Like maybe we ought to, start teaching kids, maybe you should, not be having sex and, getting your girlfriend's pregnant and then leaving her so she fends for herself to raise the kids. That's a problem in the Black community, unfortunately. But as far as overpopulation goes, like I said earlier, the Bible does say, go forth and be fruitful. I don't think the Bible would say that if overpopulation could actually harm the world. So in other words, I think it's going to work out somehow. It has to. It should. I wouldn't have said that. So, but I'm scared to bring that up with her because, like, she's now saying she's Christian agnostic. I have a fear she's moving more towards atheism. So if I bring that up, she'll probably just get mad, and then she'll move closer to atheism. I don't know. I have to be careful with the whole like God thing when I'm talking to her because I think she's on much shakier grounds with that than anything else.
Right. Well, the thing is, the one thing I notice about people that would probably identify as agnostic atheist would kind of just be like a moderate or agnostic Christians is that it seems to be more like a moderate kind of a Christian, and most of them will usually go to like the Bible and such when regards to what Jesus specifically says. They're not going to definitely care about the most of it with especially like what Paul in the Old Testament says, but Jesus is definitely considered like a hippie figure in these kinds of things. And Jesus himself goes on about the thou shall not kill aspect, and it's using the term thou shall not kill in the form of thou shall not murder. And when he talks about it, he even says, that hating someone with, intentionally having this very passionate hate for someone, that's basically murder at that point, is to, hate someone, is you're committing murder in your heart. Even Jesus himself had agreed with what we find in Exodus 20:13 about the issue of thou shall not murder. And when you allow children to be aborted or promote or desire that or promote that kind of concept, you're basically promoting the idea of murder that that Jesus himself would have opposed.
Yeah, well, they do. I never really thought of it that way. That hatred and murder, they kind of intersect. Because if you hate somebody, you probably wish that they would. That's committing murder in your heart. And I'm a lot better about not actually hating somebody nowadays. Like when we're kids, we tend to say that. I don't think we really know better yet. And like. We see, especially with like the anti-Trump movement, there's a lot of hate, a lot of it's pretty obvious. You can tell by a person's words when there is hate in their heart. I mean, my friend, like, I think there might be some hate in her. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell because she is a good person, but it's just that, that thing she said on her Facebook, as well as some of her, more controversial, very non-Christian, and no one's perfect. I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect, but it's that which is getting me scared. Like, could she be leading down a darker path? Because she, like I said, she does, like I said earlier, she parties, and she's talked about having sex, like at least on occasion, probably just with her boyfriends, but so. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have any of you guys ever had a friend like this? I guess that's my question for you guys. If you've had a friend who's been going through something similar.
Yeah, I've had I think even a relative that kind of felt that way, and I just I just approached them. I just approached them with grace, being humble and gentle and calm, but I have to be honest at the same time. I'm not going to just simply sugarcoat things and water things down. I want to, be nice and kind to them, but at the same time, I have to tell them straight up, hey, if you do this, it's a bad thing. So I just want you to know what you're going to consider doing as a result of this. And I just, approach them from my perspective, because for me, especially with regards for someone who believes in or says they would believe in Jesus and such, especially identifying as a Christian, an agnostic Christian, what did Jesus say in Matthew 5:21, the Sermon on the Mount, the most famous passage? You have heard it said that hang on a second, if I remember it, I'm trying to remember what's the specific passage because there was one I was looking at. Yes. So, Matthew 5:21. You have heard it that it was said them of old, thou shalt not kill, and whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. So he basically is basing his teaching off of what the scriptures stated and saying that, do not commit murder, thou shalt not murder. And if anyone who does so will be subject to judgment, meaning they will be judged upon judgment day. And that's basically Jesus saying, hey, you do this, then, you better be careful, because whenever judgment day comes, whose side are you going to be on at that point based upon your actions? Do you think God's going to overlook that? Is that kind of a thing that I think, that would be something I would bring up to her. But again, the key is being gentle and graceful. Do not try to, be insulting or demeaning. Just, try to be positive and, keep a nice, calm tone with the conversation and such. But yeah, I mean,
may I say
that, yeah, please.
Yeah.
I think and I'm no psychologist by any means, but I, as a woman, back in the Bible days, it was like you were supposed to get married and have children. And Paul brings up this amazing revelation that we now have today, that it's okay to be single. Enjoy your singleness. Just be you. But the reason why I say that is I think nowadays, still in society, we are, as a woman, you still are taught to get married and have children. And I think the scary thing is losing your freedom, basically, like children running your life. I even have co-workers who are younger than me who have children, and they say, sister, don't have kids. Don't have but honestly, I'm pretty sure it has come to her mind when she has sex. Oh my God, I hope I don't have a kid. I hope I don't have a kid. And that resentment, and I'm pretty sure that might be what it is. Her fear of having children, and that is what she's probably projecting onto. It's her fear of having a child and being responsible and having to give up a certain lifestyle to not enjoy herself anymore. But having kids run your life. Kids are expensive these days. It's possibly a fear of growing up. Some of it might be, and that's a hole in her heart. There's a hole in her heart. I believe only God can fill, and she's trying to fill it with some other things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did any of that help out any?
I mean, that, like I said, I'm kind of afraid to bring up God when talking to her. I mean, do you think I should, though?
Well, to me, I mean, does she like talk about Jesus a lot? Or at times?
Even back when I first met her, not so much. Back when she was younger, back when she was definitely a Christian. But like I said earlier this year, she said, like, I've rededicated my life to God, and she started posting some Bible verses. I never really talked with her about it. Now I feel bad. I probably should have. But then, like, a few months later, she came out as bisexual, and then okay. Is she like a sexually confused Christian? Because, like, it doesn't necessarily mean she's going to hell, but I'm kind of worried. And now I read her profile says that she's Christian agnostic, and then that's when I really started to get worried. I knew, okay, she's drawing further away from God, so that's why I'm afraid to bring it up to her, because I think she'll just shut me out. She might even block me, and
You think she'd do something like that just from a simple talking of that?
Well, she kind of seemed to when I had that like little back and forth with her after she talked about the whole population control to childbirth thing. I mean, I have to be as nice as I can and as mature as I can. Like you said last week, that's pretty much what I'm counting on.
Yeah, like
Otherwise,
start if you decide to bring this up and try to go into it, start the thing off with an intro saying, what I'm about to say. I just want you to know that I'm saying this or bringing this up because I love you and I care for you. Let her know that you're talking about this because you're worried, you care, and it's not trying to you be hating or judgmental or anything. It's just you are worried and you want to get to the bottom of this. So mention that first. But yeah, I would say don't even, because I honestly don't know what the position would be for her on God. But one thing I know that I think would pretty common sense with some of these type of people is what I'm sure they would agree with what Jesus says. Especially Sermon on the Mount stuff like Matthew 5:21. Just bring that up in regards to, here's how Jesus would have viewed it. I mean, and he is this wise, peace-loving kind of guy, and look what he's saying.
Yeah.
Kind of ask like the rhetorical, do you think Jesus would have supported abortion? Kind of get that kind of thinking, get that free thinking going. Just asking a question is simply it, not you trying to say hateful statements. Ask a question so that way you can get a person to think about what really drives them to why they believe the things they believe.
Yeah. Well, I kind of want to get to the bottom of why she thinks that way about, like having kids and everything. Because like she seems to be in a really good relationship with her family, but I wish I knew what that was, because then it might be easier to talk to her and ask her, like, you can talk to me, like, what is it that's been troubling you? Why do you act this way and everything? Lost my train of thought, but yeah, that's what I'm wondering. But more importantly, because like it's kind of hard to believe that there are some people who are pro-abortion but Christian. Like I question that myself. But like there are some pro-abortion people who aren't completely hopeless. They might be pro-abortion because they think like, I mean, this still doesn't make sense to me. The whole argument that it's my body, it's my property, I'll do what I want with it. They said the same thing about the slaves back in the 1800s, and look where that went.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's why I think abortion might be abolished someday, but we'll get to that later. But like it is kind of hard to believe that there are Christians who think that way. But the only thing I can understand is if the girl was raped, like I understand if she would want to abort because she wouldn't want to go through the pain of childbirth. So I understand, but it is still murder.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she wasn't ready to have that kid either. So it's understandable, but it's still, it is still abortion. It is still murder. And because thanks to abortion, with the whole, Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger thing, that has made abortion more affordable and mainstream. So sex be more mainstream because now people see, oh, I can have sex and not have to worry about having a kid. I can have sex and for pleasure. I don't have to worry about like having a kid or anything like that. So yeah, we've got condoms, we've got birth control, which those two are understandable because you don't have to kill the baby. Sex more of a what it's not supposed to be biblically. People will do it for pleasure. There's no substance involved. There's no love. The people just do it for fun. But at least a baby isn't dying. That's when abortion comes in. If they do get pregnant, it's or heaven forbid even partial birth abortion, which is much worse.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's the story of my friend. I think I'm gonna try talking to her because you guys gave me good advice. But yeah, just be in prayer for what might come. Hopefully she'll understand.
Yeah, hopefully we'll definitely be sure to pray for you and her.
And by the way, real quick, for anybody who's in the chat who any of my like brony friends who follow me on Twitter, just so you guys all know, this person I'm talking about is not somebody you know. In fact, I don't even know if they're on Twitter. It's nobody you know, so please don't think I'm talking about some friend I have online through the fandom that I'm like going behind their back on. This is a more, they're not really a personal friend because I only know them online, but it's somebody else that you guys don't know. Just so everybody knows that. Just a little disclaimer. Yeah. So, yeah, well, thanks for that advice, though, guys.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Yeah. Can you wait for the answer? Keyblade here is, do you have voice? Oh, no, wait, they're all muted. It's just,
yeah.
I think 4.
Yeah, he think he wants to give his advice on the issue, but on the off-air portion. And he said, and I don't know how long you'll be on. We're gonna keep the show going on for another 30 minutes. So I don't know if you got work in the morning or what time you need.
I actually work at 5. I was gonna either go to bed like for just 1 or 2 hours or pull an all-nighter, and then after work tomorrow I just go to bed and sleep early. I've done that before. It didn't really work out too well, but you guys are okay. I can stay in here a little longer.
Okay, no problem, man. All right. Yes, for some of y'all that have heard, because I see we have 7 viewers, we got 30 minutes left of the show. So if you got questions and you want them answered, you better get to sending them in the, what is this? A live chat, I think it is. No, it's a live chat. I've just been told I don't do English too well. But yes. So yeah, if you got any questions in the live chat, feel free to send them in there. Just tell them we're gonna get to some of the people that are in here, especially Vincent Lankin of the Council of Google Plus and Nate that have showed up. So first off, though, we're gonna go to Preston, who said he has another question. Preston, what's up, and welcome, my friend.
Hello, and thank you. Sorry for the questions. This is the first time I've went to a Google Hangout. It seems very similar to me, like the party chats on PlayStation, but I'm just kind of getting used to things. But yes, I did have a question, and that was, how can you be a Christian, or how can you be an atheist, and then call yourself an agnostic? It seems self-defeating because an agnostic is someone who doesn't have knowledge, but a Christian and an atheist, that's a knowledge claim. So it seems self-defeating and kind of weird to me.
Well, in regards to the atheist claim, they don't necessarily have to make knowledge claim. It's just simply a lack of theism. So technically, an agnostic, in my opinion, is an atheist, since they just have a lack of believing in a God, except though they just are going to be openly admitting, then saying, that they don't know, just like the regular atheists say they don't know, but they're going to be, agnostics are kind of going to be more like, I'm a little more open to the idea, where atheists are just like, I don't know if one exists, but you have like people like, well, who was it? Aaron Ra and such, who said, these people will say, we don't know there's a God. But at the same time, we'll say things like, even if we knew that one existed, he still would not even worship the God of the Bible and such, because they said it would be a cruel, immoral monster that does not deserve respect or worship. And to me, it's kind of shows. It's just mostly it's not about the knowledge claim, because even if they knew, they would probably still be atheists, having a lack of theism. So the fact that they just simply, do not want to worship God because they have some kind of emotion behind it. And I think ultimately that's what it boils down to, is that some people either are very, in love with their sin, or they have this certain emotion that's happened that's, maybe there was a personal problem that they've had with religion in the past. I would have been sort of close down that road. But fortunately, I was brought to the Lord at the age of 19, I believe, during my senior year of high school and such. So, I mean, so when it comes to like, how can you be an agnostic Christian or agnostic atheist? I mean, agnostic atheist, I can understand that. because it's simply, either way, that's pretty much it. It's like you're saying basically the same thing in two words. It's like saying fruity fruit, But as for agnostic Christian, that is the one thing that is a good question of, because when we're Christians, the Bible says, we have this kind of knowledge and such, especially if we are Christians. We know about the God of the Bible. We know of the existence and such. We know about the gospel message. We have all this knowledge that we have, especially from the scriptures, as well as, being born again of the Spirit. So that is a term. And I think what it just simply means to me, at least when I hear of it, is someone that is just doubtful about some of the stuff that's in the Bible. And to me, what I think needs to happen with this, in terms of, say, the church and other Christians, is just to help out these brethren, to build them up and to, bring them more into the line of orthodoxy, that they can trust what's in the Bible, and that they can love and worship God in a way that brings a great joy to their soul. So to me, that's how I would approach that. And that's, I don't see the idea of an agnostic Christian making sense, but at the same time, also, just because it doesn't make sense doesn't mean that we should just, insult and say, oxymoron, aren't you? I think it's kind of like in Romans 14 and 1 Corinthians 10, when Paul talks about the weak Christians. These are kinds of people that are new to the faith, but they have their own struggles with certain habits and such. And so Paul basically says to, help them in their way. For example, some converts did not enjoy eating meats from idols or offered to idols, because they were still accustomed to the Jewish tradition that they grew out of. So you have Jews that are converting, but they still want to keep to some of the dietary laws, not because they think it's necessary for salvation, but it's just part of their tradition. And you have some people that, want to kind of, put them in a situation, make them uncomfortable, and it makes them, once they get uncomfortable there, then they're going to get uncomfortable in other areas that's going to cause them to sin. And then likewise, vice versa. Some Jews trying to say, hey, you Gentiles, you got to start eating like us. You can't eat all that pagan meat now. And that's going to cause some slip-ups there too. So the issue is, for the sake of some people, be careful with them, but also make sure to guide them biblically as well. Make sure you're using the scriptures. But if, you have some adiaphora or disagreements on something, then let it be. But if there's an essential being put into it, then, work with these people. So that's all on my response and my further comments on that. Unless you want to, if there's any other way I can help further with the answer to your question, feel free to let me know how I can help out there.
It sounds good. I do have other questions, but I will let the other people go. So I'll let you get to that later.
All right, sure thing. I already see that Vincent's going to be useless for that part of the question. He said he got nothing. Work has drained him, and I understand how you feel. Today is one of the worst for me.
Plus, I got a 2-year-old in here being grumpy.
Again, I understand how you feel.
I'm on empty right now.
Yeah, tell me about it, man. Ooh, I had to take care of my 3-year-old nephew. He wanted to play Nerf War, which eventually evolved into playing zombies. Don't know why he got into that. Then I went to do my caretaking job, went to get 8 bags of mulch, and then started planting mulch around my stepmom's house. So yeah. Oh,
here's my buddy here.
All right, let me present that. Aw, it's adorable.
Games. He's looking at himself.
What's that?
It's an iPod.
Ah.
Anyway, so yeah, he's in here, and I'm tired and grumpy too.
Yeah, aren't we all again about that time? But yeah, no problem, man. Just if you do want to chime in and help out with a response to a question, man, feel free to, man. Any member of the Council of Google Plus is always definitely welcome to do that. So let's see. We got okay. So then we come to Nate, who came in, also known as our favorite penguin.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, so my question is, this question was sparked by a while ago from the passage where Paul says that he would forfeit his salvation if it meant the salvation of the Jewish people. So the question is purely hypothetical, and it's, if you were given the option to let everyone go to heaven and yourself go to hell, or the option of everyone goes to hell and only you go to heaven, what would you choose?
So that's opportunities being presented right there. Like if I don't choose one, then the other happens.
Yeah.
Then I kind of, I guess, would have the same kind of attitude about it, like Paul did. That if one of the things that I'm called to do is to preach the gospel message and to evangelize and to witness to people so that they may be saved, and to do this with a passion to witness to as many people so that as much people as I witnessed to, many of them would have been saved. That's the one thing that I have a passion and desire to do. If I have to have myself go to hell just so that others could go to heaven, I would take that option if that's given of the two, because what I desire is for the people to go to heaven. And if I have to make that sacrifice, then, you know, the point is me trying to get people to heaven. And that would be it. So, I mean, evangelism is one of the main things I enjoy doing, whether it's handing out gospel tracts or whether it's preaching the word to individuals. If I have to make the sacrifice in the same way that I've had to sacrifice some parts of my reputation, in which some people have lost respect for me and such because of certain beliefs and such that I've said, I mean, I don't care. What matters more to me is whether or not if those individuals know of Christ and are saved through his message.
So you would forfeit your own salvation, go to hell for eternity so that others could be saved?
I would sacrifice my salvation for the salvation of others.
That's very selfless. All right, thank you.
Well, you can ask some of the people that know me; they'll tell you I'm as selfless as they have come. I mean, I literally live in a trailer park that I don't know how other people would probably want to sleep in it at times, because I mean, sometimes I can be kept up at night, but I really don't care. It's a place to live. I don't care for the luxurious things in life. My main purpose is just to witness, and as long as I can, have the food to keep me going strong, have God's word by my side, and have a place where I can sleep, so that way I can rest and then go out and do the Lord's work. I'll take whatever.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. All right. Thank you for that question there, Nate. So let's see if we have anyone in the live chat, because so far no Discord, no Twitter peeps. I don't know. That's the one thing. If you want to give a shout out on the on your Twitter there, Alex, maybe just let people know that they ever want to. Huh?
Earlier that I told everyone on my Twitter I'm in here talking to them about the Brony fandom. I just let them know that I'm pretty much done with that. Now we're talking about more. Has anyone else come into the chat? Remy Canadian. There's nobody in there right now that I am. Although somebody did like the post I made earlier, so maybe they're in. I don't know. Hey, anyone in the chat who is mine, feel free to ask any questions pertaining to what we're talking about. Yeah, there's 2 followers of mine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for also for some of those that want to join the Discord chat, we already got a Christian Man. He's one of our moderators in there in the off-air Discord chat. If y'all want to, for some of those in the live chat that are watching, want to head there, I'll be there within the next 15 minutes. But also see we have someone else in the live chat. We have a Southern Israelite. Isn't that a familiar face? Yeah, it says, I don't believe in the Bible, dude. Just stop. Huh. Well then. I could say the same about you, but okay. All right. Let's all right, since this we got only 15 minutes left and haven't seen other people submit a question into the live chat, we'll for this we'll have a free-for-all. So if you got a question, just say you got a question, or put it in the chat, and then we'll get to you first. So first, we're gonna go with Preston since he technically followed the first or the second rule. And anyone else want to go after him? Feel free to say something. Preston, what's your question?
Oh, thank you. I did have a question. By the way, is everybody in this room a Christian?
Yep.
Let's see. Yeah, we got Alex is a Christian. Brony Keyblade is our Christian Keyblade master. Nate is a Christian Penguin. Sister Hipster is a Christian Hipster, and Vincent is Vincent.
Actually, I consider myself more agnostic.
Oh, interesting.
That's great to hear.
I did not know that.
That's great to hear. It's mostly a Christian room, so Jesus bless you all. I have a question, and that is, does anybody notice, but why Satanism is really popular, or does anybody notice that?
Well, I don't see.
I do. Definitely.
Well, I personally don't see it popular, in my opinion. And with what I see,
when I mean popular, I mean in TV, movies, books and news, kind of like the media kind of thing, I see it being more.
You mean
promoted.
it's represented in a good light in the media and.
Yeah, something like that, exactly.
Seen as cool.
Yeah, it's more accepted, I would say, something like that.
I think Hollywood's just running out of ideas, honestly. I mean, you had some of the classic stories of the demons portrayed in a bad light. Now they want to kind of do what you have these role reversal types of stories that have been going on, fish out of water kind of stuff, and so we're kind of doing that with demons and such, putting them in a good light. I mean, it's not just for example, you have the show Lucifer, where Lucifer's this good guy.
That was the show I was gonna bring up, because that show, they make Lucifer look like a good guy. They also do it in movies too, with I don't know if anybody's watched the Noah movie. Has anybody heard of that one?
Yeah.
Where
the one with the guy from Gladiator, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, where they portray demons helping, and that kind of thing.
Well, most of what that movie did was borrowed from the Book of Enoch and try to use it as if what happened in Enoch kind of was still occurring during the times of Noah at that moment. So that's the one thing that I've learned, apparently, is that, for example, the stone creatures or something, apparently we find that in concerning Jewish texts only from Enoch.
Weren't they supposed to be the fallen angels? I can't remember the term for them. Yeah, I can't remember.
The Nephilim.
The Nephilim. That's Nephilim's the group that the offspring of the fallen angels and the humans, right?
Didn't they come into the world to impregnate Adam and Eve's children?
The fallen angels did, yeah.
Yeah, I remember learning that when I was asked by an atheist classmate in high school, can you explain how God says that. What did he say? God says that incest is wrong. Yet how did Adam and Eve's children repopulate? They would have had to have had sex with each other, brother and sister, in order to do it, and so on and so forth.
Because that law wasn't there.
Yeah. I mean, that was just one weird thing. And I was unprepared to answer, but I learned. And so, yeah, that's the Nephilim.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the whole thing, I think it's just mostly that a lot of people, enjoy the fish out of water story. And what's the most popular concept that could be going through? Well, currently the devil and the kind of stuff. I have a feeling that it's gonna eventually evaporate because they're gonna exhaust the heck out of the stories, and it's no longer gonna be original. And
yeah, I hope that
So who knows? They may try to go for like the Buddhist or something like that. I actually had an interesting conversation with someone at work that there was a story about this nun that was found on video with a chainsaw cutting up some the trees that were blocking the roads and such. So we just kind of made a joke. It's like, coming soon to theaters, nun with a chainsaw. She's having none of it. So who knows? Maybe we'll see an action movie in which it's a nun with a chainsaw going around hacking and cutting people.
I'm positive
Hollywood doesn't understand God or Christianity. I don't think they ever will. Some might, like the Nativity movie is pretty good, but as a whole, especially with the way things have been going lately, Hollywood is kind of doomed, in my honest opinion.
Well, I mean,
I agree with you.
Honestly, do you think would you expect Hollywood to be your source of theology at this point? I mean,
No.
Yeah.
I mean, look what happened to Noah. You don't just have the whole Enoch influences. I mean, they really just dramatize the heck out of it. I mean, where in the Bible does it talk about the people tried to then overtake the boat? Where in the Bible does it talk about Noah having like tendencies to kill somebody, to kill one of his family members?
I haven't even seen the movie. Is it really that bad?
It's very bad because like it's pretty much just a rewritten, like made their own story. Because like I said, the people tried to take the boat. One of them tries to sneak on board, and there's a fight in the boat while the flood's going on.
This sounds so much worse than Exodus, Gods and Kings, or whatever it's called.
Again, and again, that's one of the things is like I don't know how accurate it would be because I've heard it kind of does a little more accurate, but it does focus a bit more on Moses's Egyptian life in the past when trying to lead up to the story. But the one thing I've remembered hearing that made it so controversial was Christian Bale's motivation for the character, and that was that he said that he viewed Moses as this sort of like schizophrenic sociopath. That was basically what he had in mind when doing the acting, is that was how he thought of this character, basically.
But why would he think of him like that? Because I don't think that's kind of biblical. So where did he get that
right
from?
But then again, he's not exactly a biblical character either. He's not a biblical thinking kind of guy. So I mean, he's not going to look at it like that. He just simply reads the Bible, and when he reads that, it's kind of like some of the other atheists or secularists that try to make the claims that God's immoral and such. They'll make claims that somehow he was a schizophrenic person for some of the things he did in Exodus.
Is Christian Bale an actual Christian?
I don't think so, honestly.
What I don't understand is, majority of Hollywood is primarily of Jewish faith. Most of them just claim it by birth or something, and they don't take it seriously. But still, that makes no sense to me. It disrespects a very historical character such as Moses and rehash it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well,
Passion of the Christ was really good. I mean, there's a Christian movie that's actually well done.
At least, honestly, yeah. To me, I think that did it very well, especially with how they really weren't gonna censor down with the, you know, how terrifying the pain could have been. I think it may have been a little overkill, but at the same time, really have to think about like what was going on at that point. You know,
Yeah, it was probably 10 times worse. Could have very well been.
Probably. Yeah, but anyways, thank you for your question, Preston. I see. I don't know if we'll have time for any more on this chat because I see we've actually got like as soon as I mentioned the 15-minute thing, we got a lot of questions. Southern Israelite wants to know, how do you know right from wrong if you don't keep the law of Moses? So for some of them don't know, Southern Israelites apparently like a Aryan Judaizer, basically, and
he's cursed to keep them all. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Is he a Hebrew Israelite?
Huh?
Is he a Hebrew Israelite?
No, he's an Aryan Judaizer. Like if you've heard of the Judaizers in the New Testament, that he's basically one of those guys.
Oh, okay.
Thinks that we have to keep the law to remain justified and such. And the reason why I know right from wrong is because the law has been written in our hearts. We know right from wrong because we have the knowledge of the law by nature. Now, the text of the Bible contains a law and such, but we know what is right and wrong without having to be told, because it's written in our hearts, and God gave us that, so that for us to even claim that this is right or this is wrong, we can't simply say that it's, some subjective reason. It's an objective reason, and it's because we get our knowledge of good and evil from God. So that's how I know. Anyways, so there's that. And of course, as he made a comment later saying, if that was true, all Christians would agree on ethics, but they don't. Not necessarily, it says, because some Christians would disagree on certain ethics because they have still certain selfish reasons. It's still about the corrupt, sinful nature that people have. So some people are still, we may be Christians, but we're that are born again in the Spirit, but we still are going to have some of the sinful nature that causes us to still be a little bit selfish at times and still be tempted into sins and such. So
yeah.
Sounds like a lot of workspace to me. You know what? I keep the law perfectly in Christ.
Amen. That's what the Bible says.
Anything other than that, you're adding to the gospel. You're creating works. It's ridiculous.
I wonder if you guys, how you guys would handle him if he was on y'all's show.
He's free to come on Sunday after Matt Slick answers.
There you go. After Matt Slick answers.
We don't shy away from anyone.
I've noticed after seeing y'all handle G-Man that time. Say we have K Dove. What does it mean to be created in the image of God? Good question, actually. And I've still been trying to study into this, but there's been times when I get onto it, and then either something's at work has been calling me, and I end up getting caught away from this. So I have to really get more into it, because I noticed that when I was moderating my first debate with Inspiring Philosophy and Nephilim Free a while back, that was one of the last things that they were talking about before Nephilim decided to rage quit a debate that he wanted to happen. And some people say it's like a physical image and such, like we're mirrored type of thing, but that's definitely not true. Some have defined it, the being made in the image of God, is it having the rationality or the logic and the reason of God. But well, I think that can be certainly said, and that we kind of can think and have the same kind of reasoning skills as God, only in the fact that we are able to make decisions and think and make and use logic and such. But I think there's other methods and ways. But again, I'd have to study more into this. But those are some of the two views that I've heard. And what I think seems to be the more plausible theory at the moment is the theory that we have the ability to use logic, reason, and be rational because we are given that from God, and we're able to make those kinds of decisions almost in the same way that God can. Only difference being we're limited, finite creatures, whereas God is infinite in his power, wisdom, and glory. So thank you for the question there, Mr. K-Dove. Let's see if we have anyone else in the chat. No, that seems to be... one more. Based Guyver. Why is Enoch not canonized? Because it was recognized as simply, Jewish apocryphal literature. It was not considered canon because Jews would recognize that this is simply a work of fiction, but at the same time, it also incorporates some actual Jewish teachings and such. But that's things you already get when you read the Torah and the entire Tanakh. I mean, it's just common sense. Like in the New Testament, it has some of the corporation teachings of there, and so Enoch would be the same thing. But Enoch does contain fictional things that the Jews would find fictional, and that if we are to consider it canon, it would contradict Scripture, since the same thing for any of the apocryphal books. So that's the reason why it's not canonized, is because that it's a work of fiction from the Jews for the Jews, and it then is recognized as such even by the early Jews. So thank you for your question there. We will have time for one more question from this panel here. So if anyone has a question, feel free to speak now or forever keep your peace.
I have a question.
Well, just like Preston Garvey, you are quick to the draw. All right, what's up, my friend?
What is the after show? And by the way, this was rude of me, but how's everybody doing? Sorry, I should have asked that when I first joined.
Well, I'm doing good.
Doing good. Yep.
Okay.
Good. Another question needs your answering.
Oh my goodness! I honestly I think like that character is just like the biggest troll in the game. Honestly, just gets you to do some random quests.
What game?
I kind of like him. Fallout 4.
Oh, that's why I don't know it.
Yeah. Preston is basically just a guy that gives you side quests, and you can't have the option of doing side quests from him. It's pretty much like that. Got word from a settlement that needs our help. Those will soon be like the words you never want to hear after you play that game for a bit and get to dealing with Preston. Yeah. So your question is just what's the after show?
Yeah, because I heard about that and I don't know what it is.
Well, that's just basically like, for example, if this is going to be the last question, we're going to then go off air, and then we're going to just continue the conversation, but off, not recorded, not live.
So it's like private?
Yeah, in a sense, yeah, it's a bit on private. We do it on a Discord, because we got some people there, and plus it keeps that way. Like on Hangouts, you're only allowed to have 10 people per Hangout. With the Discord, we're able to have more people in there, and also pretty good. You don't need a camera. You just need your microphone. It's pretty much just a voice chat for the most part. And it's
so that's what the after thing is in Discord exclusively?
Yes, it's in Discord exclusively.
So we just got to switch over to it.
Mm-hmm. And the link for that, for those who are watching and are curious about that, you'll find it in the video, in the description link. It's the very last link, says Discord for Ask CA questions off air.
Oh, and okay. Like, is there like people with mics there that will talk like when you join? Because I've joined the thing, and I've joined like Discord servers, but there's no people with like mics.
Yeah, I mean right now one of my moderators, Christian Man's in there at the moment.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, Vincent is going to be now made a moderator since I just put him in here.
Because somebody did say they had something to add to my question about my friend earlier in the after party. Mm-hmm. I was going to leave after this, after the podcast is done, but I could I'm kind of getting bad at talking right now because I've been doing too much of it. I could go over there and somebody could just tell me something real quick in like the text chat or whatever. I've actually never called in Discord, so.
Well, I don't know if Keyblade, do you have a Discord?
Yes.
You do? Well, I mean,
It is.
either y'all could just stay in the hangout if I don't know if you how soon you need to get going, Alex, or you can head to the Discord, whichever works for y'all.
I can't remember who it was who said they wanted to add something to me. Keyblade, was that you?
Yeah, it was Keyblade.
Okay, you can. Once we go, you can go tell me real quick because I'm interested to know what you have to say.
Yeah,
this might be.
I'm not going to do the chat. I'm not going to do the voice chat, so you can just tell me. Oh yeah, I just accepted the invitation. You can just tell me in there real quick. So yeah.
All right. This might be very like late, but please call me Cameron, my real name.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, everyone already knows my real name. It's kind of obvious to figure out.
Yes, the Aleximus.
Alex, or what?
Yeah, Maximus.
Yeah, it's kind of weird hearing people say it because, like, I think last time you guys made a bunch of Transformers jokes, even though I'm more of a brony. But I started out
Maximus,
and I kept the name because it was iconic enough. But yeah,
I just said Aleximus just because there was a video I did where I was you know David Vincent.
Who is it?
Have you ever seen Bleach?
Oh, it's an anime voice actor. I haven't seen Bleach. No.
Dang it. Kill La Kill.
Not yet, but I really want to. I have seen Gurren Lagann. I have seen Gurren Lagann. Is he in that?
I don't think so. Have you seen any clips from Kill La Kill at least?
A couple.
Any in English dub?
Yes. I only watch anime in English dub. I can't do subs. I miss out.
So you've heard the clothes Zengetsu speaking?
Oh, it's him?
That's him.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah,
anyways, what about David?
Yeah, I actually did a thing where I was doing a voice acting thing for him at a convention, and I have the thing on my YouTube.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, and one of the things he told me to do was to read the ending monologue from Optimus Prime in the first Transformers movie, and he. All right, we'll see you later, sister. Glad to have you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Sister.
But yeah, like I just started going into the voice, and he was impressed, and then he said, "Now I heard you go in there, and I want you to take it there. I want you to do it as Sean Connery." And I had some fun with trying to do Optimus Prime as Sean Connery.
That's interesting.
Oh yeah, he was a cool guy. I actually handed him a gospel track too while I was out there.
Yeah, I've gotten to meet quite a few. You said this was at a convention. What convention was this?
This was in the Louisiana Anime Festival, in Baton Rouge.
Louisiana?
Yeah, Louisiana because they were trying to like base it off of give it a thing off the nickname.
Huh. That's cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I only go to brony conventions because it's where all my friends are. What I do with the content I make, I might probably be going to many others later. But yeah, well, that's cool that you got to talk to a voice actor. And I was talking earlier about my own friend who is a voice actor, which it's great to get in touch with people like that, though. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so was that all you want to ask for your question, Preston, or do you want to?
Can you add on to it, or?
Well, I mean, what add on to the off-air thing?
Yeah, it's not. No. I mean, like the question, because I wanted to talk a little bit more about the question, like Satanism and that kind of stuff, or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I just think that Satanism is just having like or being explored in some aspects. But I don't think necessarily that what Hollywood's doing is specifically the Satanism thing. I just think they're just entertaining characters that they don't even think is real at this point. But there is, I have noticed some people have, especially on the online portion, have taken an interest in the atheism section that is of Satanism these days. Like a guy I debated on the whether or not if Christianity is good for society. Wolf King found out he's a Satanist.
Yeah, I heard about in schools now. In some schools, they have like these after school Satan clubs, and they have like books and stuff that are like satanic, and they kind of promote it in the school now. Has anybody else heard of that? Because I've heard about that.
Wouldn't surprise me.
A lot of people at my school are Satanists. And
You say
do any of you have a like Christian club after school, or a Christian club in your school?
Bible studies at my old high school. I don't know if they're still doing it, but I was in one.
In the high school I go to, there's a Christian club, but it seems to be it's gotten like it wasn't as good as it was back then, but it's there.
Oh, that's good to know. Well, I don't have any more questions. If you guys want to call it a night.
Yeah, we're about to end the broadcast, and Keyblade. Again, if you want to mention that thing to Alex as soon as we go off air, feel free to.
Oh yeah.
So.
But by the way, Keyblade or Christian, what text channel do I go into for him to talk to me?
Oh, on Discord.
Yeah.
Mostly we keep it on the general, so you can either do it. Yeah, you can do the text channel or do the voice channel. Either one. So yeah, if you want to do text, mostly we just do that on general.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I guess I'll just go in there. Otherwise, yeah. Well, guys, thanks for inviting me on. If if you also want to get in contact with Black Griffin, I know him on Twitter pretty well. I could let him know sometime if you try to get in contact with him. That's probably the best place to do it. You can send him a public tweet, like get to know him a little, and then send a message sometime. But yeah.
All right. Yeah, thanks.
I do. About the Discord thing, I opened the Discord app and I accepted your invite. Does it, like, how do you get the mic chat to work? Do you just join and like people talk, or how does that work?
Yeah, maybe let me see. What's your deal on here?
Because I joined it and my name is Massimo on it. So.
Yeah, just where it says the voice channel and you see that thing that says general, you just click on that and you'll be able to join it whenever we're out of this one. So yeah. But yeah, we're gonna end the broadcast here. Thank y'all for tuning in and listening. Hopefully we answer as much of your questions as we can. Southern Israelite, definitely fun seeing the fact that you're still walking around on here. But yeah, anyways, so thank y'all for tuning in and hope to see you next Friday. But hey, until then, this has been the Christian Anarchist. Shalom Aleichem, and peace be upon you, because I wish that upon you. Have a good day.